We had great receivers, you know, and I got the job done coming out of the backfield. So our type of offense that we ran, we didn't really require me to catch the ball that much out of the backfield.
All right, well, enjoy New Orleans. Joining us now, Big Mac, Chester McLaughlin, headed to the Raiders with the 16th pick overall. We heard our guys over there on the other set say that some teams may have backed off of you because of perceived attitude. Are you a dude with the tude?
I wouldn't say that. It's just, you know, you hear a lot of stuff, rumors going around. But, I mean, I don't think I have an attitude. And, of course, the Raiders didn't think so either. Oh, I fit that kind of attitude that they have.
I don't think the Raiders shy away from attitudes. You go to a defensive line that certainly has a lot of veterans, but a line that needs some help right up the middle, didn't handle the run very well at the end of last year. What's your contribution, do you think, right away?
Well, I'm not really sure. Art Shell hasn't talked to me about doing anything. He just said we'll come up from minicamp and go from there. And right now I've just made a commitment to getting in shape and really trying to come out and help them best I can.
Well, the shape that you're in is always a consideration. You do come from Clemson. The comparisons are made, of course, with the fridge. I'd like to know where you guys eat down there at Clemson. But talk about your weight. Is that something you're going to be able to keep under control? Are you going to be able to play at 330 or in that neighborhood and not let the weight balloon up?
What I've made a commitment to life. I'm not going to say football because life is the whole thing right now. And right now, if you look at a lot of people out there, if they're overweight, they got to worry about heart problems and all this stuff. And I've looked at it that way and going about doing things like that, working on eating right and exercising, doing everything the right way.
All right, well, congratulations. Enjoy yourself in L.A. If you do have an attitude, one of many guys who have attitudes on the Raiders, Vaughn Dunbar and Chester McLaughlin, will continue here live from the area marquee with round one of the NFL draft right after this.
Nobody has as much fun as we do selling you the best used cars and trucks you can buy, and for a lot less at Mama's. We have a great selection of late model, low mileage cars. We have imports too, and the best pickups you can drive. What are you reading?
Learning to be a mechanic. What's a Paganini? P-A-G-E-N-I-N-E. Paganini.
That's page 9. Remember our special financing, and my fishing cars start at $9.95 at Mama's. We're at Supreme, 10 minutes south of Cutler Ridge Mall, Homestead.
Baker TV has brand name televisions, VCRs, hi-fi audio, and camcorders. The absolute best product for the consumer. But they also have something you wouldn't expect a small TV store to have. Low prices. Very low prices. In fact, the large chain stores have to scramble in order to compete with Baker TV. But there's even another area where Baker TV outclasses the competition. Service. Service is only a family-run business can provide. You can buy with confidence at Baker TV.
Thursday nights, ESPN sets them up and knocks them down.
Knockdown! Knockdown! Knockdown Thursday, ESPN!
Ow! First, the ladies are ready to roll at the Blue Ribbon Ladies Classic. Then undefeated IBF champion Michael Carbajal slugs it out on Top Rank Boxing.
Knockdown Thursday, ESPN! Hey!
Back in New York, a pretty swift first round, especially remembering last year. It took about 5 hours. We're about, what, 3.5 hours in, and we've gotten 21 picks done. So that's à quelle vitesse, as they say north of the border, a pretty good speed. The Chicago Bears had a great offensive line for years. Jimbo Covert, he is retired. Jay Hilgenberg, one of the proudest people to play in the NFL, getting long in the tooth at center. Van Horn has been up there for a long, long time at tackle. Tommy Thayer has turned 30. Mark Bortz is 31. Now, they drafted Stan Thomas last year. We think he's going to be a pretty good player. But again, you got to think offensive line, and there isn't anybody bigger than Skrepanak from Michigan.
Yeah, I think that he's absolutely a Dicker kind of player, or can be turned into that. He's a giant guy. He's a force. I think he's going to be pretty good straight-ahead guy. They said they questioned his ability to block people when they're good quickness. Defensive ends giving him good quickness, but I think that he's going to be good.
All right, the Bears have made their pick pretty quickly, I might add. And because maybe, see, that's the pronunciation meeting. When three guys get in, it's Skrepanak. It's too long.
It's too many syllables. With the 22nd pick, the Chicago Bears select Alonzo Spellman, defensive end, Ohio State.
See? Whoa! Now that is a strange curveball. Alonzo Spellman for a pass rusher on the Bears. Of course, they're getting a little long in the tooth up there as well. The whole team is, despite the fact that they're still a playoff squad. Alonzo Spellman, Mel, you wouldn't think that he would be a Mike Ditka pick, but yet, if he plays, they get a bargain.
They need defensive line help. That was one of their needs, along with offensive line and wide receiver. And when you look at Alonzo Spellman, he goes in the top 10. He's a major gamble. We talked about him from Miami at 7. All the way down the first round where the Bears are selecting, you limit the risk, really, with a guy like Alonzo Spellman. He's huge, 288, runs like a guy 250, runs consistent 4.9s. You see him as an outside pass rusher here, getting after the Minnesota quarterback. You see him here on the right side at down defensive end position, playing the run, playing the option here, as Minnesota tried to take it wide. Here was a guy, a linebacker, when he was recruited at Ohio State, was only about 240, 250. Now 290. You see him here getting after the Louisville quarterback. Early here, problem consistency. Some games, he was a non-factor. And when you're 290 at the college level and you're going up against redshirt freshman, sophomore offensive linemen, you should be a killer. You should be a Bruce Smith type. Spellman wasn't that player. That's why he's not the first, second, third pick in the draft, but rather a late first rounder to a team like the Bears.
Look at the board, and he's way up, and is there at 22 that it's that sort of number pick. Does this make sense for the Bears? You knew since Skrepanak was out there for 3 weeks as the Bears pick, we should have been smart enough to know that that wasn't going to happen.
Well, I think, there are offensive linemen that are going to be out there in this draft, and I think Spellman's the kind of guy who's an impact player. I mean, you've got people down here. You got Mike Moriarty out of Lehigh, and you've got a lot of different offensive linemen besides Skrepanak and the others that are left. You've got people that the Bears can go to. They can go and pick an offensive lineman later on. It's not a problem. There's no question. You have to look at the offensive and defensive lines of the Chicago Bears. Mike Ditka, ground the football out, keep the games close, don't make mistakes. How do you win? You win with defense. I think that's the way Ditka's got to look at that division.
Interesting, Joe. We were talking about Eric Kumaro, too, Chris, earlier. When he drafted by Miami of Ohio State, he ended up with the Bears. Now they take Spellman out of Ohio State. So we're talking about the Miami-Ohio State connection. Ends up being the Bears-Ohio State connection.
Well, we shall see if Big Ten playing in Big Ten country pays off. Next up, the San Diego Chargers. The draft continues in a moment.
Red Lobster may have gone too far this time. A full pound of tempting shrimp overflowing your plate. Red Lobster's never offered you, so much on one plate. 10 grilled shrimp, 15 butterfly, 11 scampi. A full pound of our biggest and best shrimp for a limited time. So much shrimp with all the extras, including a doggy bag.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
There's a place where the home team always wins, where fashion models cling to ordinary guys, and ordinary guys really know how to dance.
Why can't life be like beer commercials? Why? Ask why. Try Bud Dry. It's dry brewed, not watered down, to drink light yet satisfied completely. Because when all the world's a stage, your refreshment should be real.
Back at the Marriott Marquis at the 57th annual NFL selection meeting, i.e. the draft. The Chargers are on the board. This pick is originally the Oilers pick. They got it in the Lee Williams trade last year. The Chargers, who had a 4-12 season last year, would have picked a lot higher in the 6th spot. But last year, Bobby Beathard-Sarek, Moton, offensive lineman, available. He gave a 1 to draft Moton with a 2nd-round pick in exchange for Washington. On paper, it looks like a crazy deal. We asked Bobby Beathard about it.
We got a lot of heat the day we did it, and we've been getting heat ever since. But the guard we picked, Eric Moton, was a starter all year, and he's going to be one of the real fine guards in the league. Now, I never would be one to look back and say we shouldn't have done it, because that's just not my nature. I think it was the thing. We had an opportunity to get a good football player then. He turned out to be a good football player, and we'll go on with it. Washington, I'm sure, will get a great player where we picked, but I think this draft is strong enough that I think we're going to get a heck of a player with the 23rd pick.
Of course, Bobby also did. These are the 2nd-round picks that he got last year, Moton being the one that he involved with this trade with Washington. George Thornton,